and very good evening to everyone on the platform, the YouTubers, the Facebook, and watching us on various other platforms. Now, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. Today, we are going to speak about a leader. We have known this leader as a motivational speaker, musical inspirational speaker, and the author of Fallen to Rise, a true, unfiltered, inspiring story of a boy who dared to challenge his current reality and rise up to inspire thousands. He inspires and encourages thousands of people to discover a higher version of themselves through. And I'm looking forward for it. He has been published in Medium, Youth Ki Awaaz, DY Patil University, and more, with 20 plus years of industry experience and privilege of empowering 148 corporate, I repeat, 148 corporate organizational institutes. He is highly passionate about helping leaders and students find direction in the midst of chaos by building and stellar mindset. Now, before I go and introduce and give the platform to the speaker, I would like to give a small demo of our speaker, Bobby D'Souza. I will share the screen and we can have a 1 minute of his life experience that he's gone through, that he has put his hard work together to show to all of our audience. Let me share the screen. You guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Well, that was amazing, isn't it? So without further ado, I request Bobby D'Souza to please take over the platform and take us through the journey of your life and on today's session, which is to be known as Unlock Your Highest Best. Over to you, Bobby D'Souza.
Thank you, Wenzel. I hope you are able to hear me loud and clear.
Absolutely.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Wenzel, for the kind introduction. Unfortunately, there was a lag. There is an issue on Zoom, wherein we try to play a video, there is a bit of a lag. So apologies, but there is a lot of stuff that I would love to share. The biggest focus that I want to do right now is for whoever is logged in, whoever is watching right now live, whoever is going to watch it on live stream on YouTube or whenever they're going to watch it, even in the future. My goal today is to bring great value to each one listening, because I just want to tell you that each one of you really matter. Each one of you are very precious. Now, being a person who consistently has a reputation of being very engaging, my goal is that I want you to really optimize the chat button. So in the chat button, if you're ready to learn something, if you're ready to discover something about yourself, may I request you just write a hello in the chat button and just say a hi to each other, so that I know and everybody knows at Empower Talks, Empowerment Talks, that you are ready. So in the chat button, just say hi, everybody. Just say hi to each other and say, I'm excited, I'm ready, and I'm ready to kick it. Okay. And while you do that, I'm going to just share my screen. Okay. I hope you're able to see my screen, Wenzel.
Yes, yes, I'm able to see your screen.
Great, 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 great. And I'm going to just check where the chat button is. I'm going to consistently try and look at the chat button. So I'm going to acknowledge a few people as well. Vinod Shah says, ready to kick it. Vinod, it's a pleasure meeting you. I hope you stay strengthened and you stay really, really strong. And Minakshi, great to see you. Avamika, good to see you. And Avita D'Souza, good to see you. And anybody else who's joining in. Unlock your highest best is the topic that we're going to talk about. Now, before we move forward, there is a little introduction which wonderfully was already shared, but this is just a little picture for you. I've been in the industry for the last 20 years. Okay. I've empowered physically, face to face, 28,900 people live, and there are 2 lakh people online that I've inspired. I'm on Spotify, iTunes. I'm soon going to be on Amazon Music. I'm a musician, by the way, as you can see, a guitar over here. I'm also a drummer. So I play the African drums and I play electronic drums, and I bring inspiration, even virtually, to that. And I am the author of the book called Fallen to Rise. But as I mentioned to, thank you, Wenzel, for your kind words. But before we move ahead, can I request all of you? I'm going to be asking you some questions. And these are questions that could really trigger you to start thinking of how can you unlock yourself. You know, a motivational speaker or somebody who's going to help you, they will only help you to unlock the biggest version of yourself when you choose to say that I'm committed to finding out about myself. So may I request you grab a notepad and a pen. And if you have a notepad and a pen, just write down and say, I have a notepad and a pen. I'm ready to make some notes because I'm going to get a lot of value. So if you can just mention in the chat button that I have a notepad and a pen, I am ready to kick it. Thank you, Vinod Shah, for your quick response. And Ravi Govind, I'm committed. Very good. I'm ready. Konen Shahidi, good to see you. Ready now, Poonam Chokshi, good to see you. So, all right, all right. Now, look at the picture that you see on the screen. Now, when you look at the picture, what do you get from it? What do you understand from the picture? So if you would be able to describe that, what do you see in the picture? Put it in the chat button. So let me just hear what do you think? I'm making a pot. Okay, creation. Interesting. Using art for survival. Okay, molding. Interesting. It's an art. Acquiring a skill. Yes, powerful. Shaping. Interesting. Now, friends, each one of you, when you look at the picture, you have your own perspective or nazariya or what you're seeing. All the words that you are saying right now, isn't that what is happening with you right now in the midst of this whole uncertain COVID-19? Don't you think you are like, like a piece of clay that is being created? You're being shaped. You're getting molded. Yeah. Some of you are feeling like, like a cyclone, you are moving in circles and you have no, what the hell is going on with my life? Why is this happening? Why did I lose the job? Why is this happening with my finances? Where will the money come from? Why did my family contract, COVID-19? Aren't we feeling like that? And sometime in life, when we have challenges, specifically like COVID-19 or anything else, what happens basically is we somehow feel that we are going through a whirlwind and we have no idea. And the words that we actually use is, what the hell? Would you agree? Yes or no? We say, what the hell is going on with me? Why did this even happen? And in India, we would say, wo purane achhe din वापस आएंगे. The old days would come back. But the honest truth is that old days are not going to come back. A lot of things are going to change. And some of you, my friends, are feeling like this. Now, let's clarify this by asking you a question. Are you by any chance feeling like this? Are you in any way feeling like this? Where are you saying, what the hell is going on? When is this going to stop? When I will be able to move out? Now, sometimes. Now, may I request you during the session that I'm going to deliver, and I know there are fantastic speakers at Empowerment Talks who have come in, but I want to bring great value to you. And the best way I can bring value to you is when you are really open and you are more vulnerable. And the meaning of vulnerable is when you're more honest. Okay. Khalid Khan, that person is not chewing pan. That person is eating a lot of popcorns and wondering what the hell is happening with my life. All right. But you could call it as pan as well, whatever makes it easy for you. So let's move forward. I have a little activity for you. Right now, look at all the words. Can you connect with what are certain emotions you're feeling in the whole element of unlock? You know, when we're trying to say unlock, are you in a sense feeling a little locked? Are you feeling like you aren't, you're confined to one place, you cannot move out, things aren't very easy for me? What are you feeling? Look at the words that you see. Are you by any chance feeling a sense of locked? And I'm using a little board over here. Are you feeling locked in any way? Locked in? So look at the words and can you try and describe your emotion picking up one of the words from the presentation? Wenzel, thank you so much for being very honest. It takes a lot of guts to be courageous and say, listen, I'm feeling isolated. I'm feeling scared. Some would say, I'm feeling bored, and the more honest you are, the more lessons you will learn. So somebody says, Khalid Khan says freedom to explore new things. Somebody says very happy to spend time with family. Okay, somebody's saying I'm feeling isolated. I feel like dead end. Somebody says I feel stuck. And that is so true. Even me. कभी कभी तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि life feels almost like stuck, right? We want to move out, right? We want to go to the beaches, we want to go to the malls, and we want to go to the restaurants. We want to eat, in India we eat something called as chicken momos. I love chicken biryanis and all. So I would love to go out and eat biryani outside. I would love to meet my dear friends, and some of the friends are joining the session today. I would love to go out, but we feel a sense of stuck, right? Some people are feeling positive, some people are feeling negative. Okay. But the question is, how can you turn from the negative emotion of feeling locked, stuck, stressed and worried and this dead end, difficult, to then to say, how can I unlock myself? And here is the question. Some of you, and I'm sure some of you are feeling a sense of locked in your current reality. Is that a yes? Are you feeling like, when is this gonna end? I mean, bloody hell, when is this going to end? Isn't this one of the questions that is coming for so many people? Whether it is social media, Facebook status, WhatsApp status. A lot of people have been writing this to me as well when I've been having conversation. So how can you unlock yourself? Let's move ahead to finding a solution. Okay. Now, there are certain things in our control, my friends, and there are certain things which aren't in our control. And some of the most elite performers in the world, some of the people who are legends, some of the people who are the most successful people are not necessarily the people who are the most wealthiest or the most richest, but the people who know to focus on what they can control. So my question number one for you is, right now, are you focusing on things that you can control, or are you focusing on things that you cannot control? Take a pen and paper handy and put that as a question for yourself. Are you focusing on things that you can control, or are you focusing on things that you're just worried about, but there seems to be no solution? And may I request you, may I urge you, focus on things that you can control. And if there are things that you cannot control, I think you should postpone it, because it is just going to kill your happiness. How do you unlock your highest best? One of the first things you do is, rather than trying to escape, the first thing you do is ask yourself, can I start focusing on things that I can control? And let's move ahead. So how do you unlock yourself? First thing, as I said, which is not part of the session, but focus on things that you can control. And one of the ways you can understand how you can do that is step number one. It is called as identify your ideal self. The question is, how can you, even in this time when things seem frustrating, How can you become the highest, best version of yourself? And that's the question. In a few minutes from now, I'm going to share a little bit of my story, wherein how I was able to unlock myself even in the midst of what I went through in my life. I'll share that. But step number one is identify your ideal self. Now, in order to develop the highest version of yourself, there are 3 to 4 questions I have for you. And if you have a notepad and a pen, make a note of these questions, and then you can go back to yourself after the session and ask yourself these questions. In order to unlock yourself and create the highest version of yourself, identify your ideal self. And for doing that, there are 2 specific questions that I have, okay? So that you can become the highest version of yourself, okay? 2 questions to find out what your unlocked version looks like. Question number 1. If you would be able to unlock yourself as an individual and become that unlocked, free, non-frustrated, delighted, happy, successful, living to your highest, best version of yourself, how would that look like for you? Take a pen and paper handy and put this question down for yourself. How do you think your unlocked ideal self would look like? Now, the reason why, before I tell you what to do, how do you unlock yourself? First, I have asked you to picturize for yourself, how do you think your ideal self would look like? Because sometimes what happens is we can be so stuck in trying to find solutions that we don't even know what the goal is. Sometimes we are trying to just pay the EMI, pay the mortgage, pay the bills, ask ourselves, how do we manage our finances? That somehow, what we really want to be is blurred. And my goal is to remind you of who you really are, my friend. In, in, in an Asian country, while they were just digging the ground, workers were digging the ground. While they were digging the ground, suddenly they hit upon something which was like a metal. And they said, oh, we found something archaeological. So what they did is they started cleaning that stuff. And when they started cleaning that stuff, what they found out was they found out a huge monument of a Gautam Buddha, a statue of Gautam Buddha covered in gold, which was hidden for years and years and years. But as they cleaned up, as they dusted it off, when they removed the mud, they were able to discover, the true statue, which was worth millions. And what I want to tell you, my friends, is right now, this very moment, sometimes when we go through the challenges of life, when we go through, the struggles and, financial issues and COVID-19 and uncertainties and, what the hell is going on, what happens is somehow we tend to, who we really are, who do we really want to be, that gets blurred, right? Because we're just trying to pay that EMI, mortgage, finance, job hunt, and that struggles, right? There is a quote which I wrote which says, the biggest breakthrough in life happens when we discover, when the cover from our mind is, removed and that gold comes out, So if you and I want to unlock ourselves to our highest version, we got to ask ourselves this question: how will that highest version look like? That's question number 1. Question number 2: how does your highest version seem like? What is the picture that you see of yourself when you see yourself really living the life that you want? How would life be on your own terms? In the chat button, why don't you write down for me, if you picturize yourself living the highest version of yourself, living an unlocked version of yourself, living a life which you enjoy, and you feel a sense of fulfillment, how would that picture of that life look like? Can you write it in the chat button, please? Would it look like you traveling in your own car? Would it look like you not having to worry about your finances? Would it look like you, serving the poor? Would it look like you working for an NGO? Would you have a life wherein you can work because you want to work, not because you have to make money only? Would it be about touching millions of people? Go ahead, write it in the chat button. How would your life look like? The highest version of yourself. I see some wonderful words saying, Ravi, thank you for those words. You're saying serving the old people. Somebody says more mobility. Somebody says inspiring people. Vamika says doing as much as social work as possible, helping others, feeling confident. Wow, that's a powerful thing, right? Feeling confident, feeling free, feeling not insecure. Khalid Khan says a balanced life, fulfilling my work and personal life. Yesterday, it was my second niece. My second niece, her name is Grace, and it was a birthday yesterday. And because of COVID-19, we could not visit her, and it was a birthday, and she's a small girl, and she sent an audio recording. And when she sent an audio recording, she said, "Aap log aaye nahi." In Hindi, it basically means, that you did not come. And she said it in a sweet voice. And very moment, that very moment, the emotion that I felt was far beyond the money, was far beyond anything else. I felt a sense of longing, of just being next to her and possibly, just seeing her smile. How would an unlocked highest version of yourself be? Don't you think it will be a mix of you living on your own term, having the finances that you need so that you don't have to worry, you not living in insecurity, but living secure, being confident, spending time with your loved ones, giving back in the best way possible? It's very important, my friends, to ask yourself, how does your highest version look like? All right, let's move forward. Thank you, Wenzel, for the best wishes. Now, if you want to build the highest version of yourself, you're going to start focusing on what you want to be. What you want to be. When you look at the mirror every day in the morning, don't just get up, look in the mirror and ask yourself, what do I really, really want to be? What will make me really delighted? Beyond the opinion of my mother, beyond the opinion of my partner, of my wife, my brother, my sister, what do I want to be? And it starts, my friend, not on just trying to, work out and save your finances, just rather than just worrying about how can I, pay the next EMI, which is important, of course. But beyond that, also focusing on asking yourself, what do I want to be in the next 1 month, in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years? What do I see of myself? And that's my question for you, my friend. What are you focusing on right now? Are you really focusing on what you were in the past? Unfortunately, my friends, unfortunately, sometime when we have past failures of our life, for example, I know so many people who are my friends who lost their jobs. I know some people who were just told, uh, you know, the company does not need you. So you might have to be told to leave. And within a week, they were told, put on notice, unfortunately. Are you living in the past? And living in the past failures. For example, if you're a person who tried creating money, whether it is in your business, whether it is through job, whether it's through anything else, and because of some reason that did not work out, are you still living in the past? Every time you're trying to take some action, automatically your mind tells you, hey, but listen, hey, Bob, you failed in the past. Man. You're a loser, man. It's not going to work for you, man. Things are not going to work for you. Things are terrible, man. You gave 5 interviews, right? It didn't happen. Why will it happen now? Are you a fool? And then what happens is, and this is how you react, your mind tells you you're a failure. You say, no, I'm not a failure. You say, you're a failure. No, I'm not a failure. You're a failure. Am I a failure? You're a failure. I'm a failure. You're a failure. I'm always a failure. You're a failure. Of course, I'm a failure. Somebody says you're a winner. Shut up, man. I'm a big failure. And the problem is, if somebody else tells you you're a failure, you'll say, hey, I'm not a failure. But when you get up every morning, when you're in the washroom, when you get up, when you're working, when you're doing anything, consistently, my friend, we're living in the past of how things have been in the past. May I just request you, stop reversing, forwarding, playing the video recording in your mind of how things did not work out in the past. Would you say yes? Tell me, do you think this session is helping you as an individual? Put it in the chat button so I know that this is helping you. This is bringing value to you. My friend, you cannot live your life. You cannot, and I say this in all my sessions for people who have attended, you cannot focus on the past and live an ideal life. Hear me out. Hear that out. Now, that's a powerful one. You cannot live the highest version of yourself. You cannot live the unlocked version while you lock yourself in your past. How's that? Did you hear that? You cannot unlock yourself and live your highest version while locking yourself in the past. Can you write that quote for yourself and put that down? Don't lock yourself in your past and live an unlocked life. That is impossible, right? It's actually opposite of it. If you have a clear picture of your ideal self and you consistently focus on, you'll ultimately become that person. Now think about it, my friends. There is a quote by Tony Robbins which says, whatever you focus on grows. If you consistently focus on your past, this is how my past was, my failures was, COVID-19 is not working, business not happening, sales is not happening, people are not listening, people are catching sickness, the news is bad, this is happening, that is happening. If you keep focusing on that, my friend, that's going to grow. But if you focus on saying that I want to become the highest version of myself and I want to get clarity in my mind of what that highest version look like, and you make a visual board of yourself for yourself, and you say, okay, I want to create a picture on a drawing board, and I say, this is how, my highest version will look like. When whatever you focus on will grow. Remember, you cannot keep moving forward by looking in the rear view. You cannot drive a car by consistently looking behind. You will have an accident. Would you say yes? And it's time to move forward. And you can either move forward or you can move backward. Choice is yours. Now, before I move forward in the chat, but tell me one thing that you picked up for yourself, one learning that you picked up for yourself. Can you put that in the chat button, please? And we're going to, Wenzel, there is a question that is, not able to remove past records. So at the end, Wenzel will definitely ask a couple of questions and we will answer those questions at the very end. So not to worry.
Yes, even I had the same question. So yeah, I'll get back with all the questions to you at the end of the session. So
and Khalid Khan brilliantly said, where focus goes, energy flows. And sometimes we are so caught up on things that are not working for us that we cannot move forward. May I just tell you one thing, my friends? Just 3 days back, a 34 years old young guy who has a family, who's got a wife, who's got a wonderful mother. One of the person I'm mentoring, she told me that one of the employees, 34 years old young man, had pneumonia and had COVID-19, and he passed away 3 days back. Because of COVID-19, even the family could not meet him. Are you understanding? Just imagine the mother not even able to see her own body of the son. And the people could not even hug each other because of COVID-19. The body had to be cremated in that machine, Are you understanding? Imagine what the family must be going through right now, this very moment. You and I could be grumbling about so many things, but the biggest blessing that you have is if you have a heart still with you. I hope you are not in love, because if you're in love, your heart will be somewhere else. But if you have your heart still with you, just put a hand on your heart. And if you can still feel a heartbeat, my friend, you are blessed. आप आशीषित हो, आपको एक blessing मिला है. You've been blessed that you and I are still alive. Isn't that true? And even if you have COVID-19, you can recover, my friend. But you and I are alive for a reason, and that's a blessing. And if you're alive, if you can breathe, if you can think, if you can move your hands, if you can move your body, you have hope. Is that true? Yes or no? So let's move forward. Step number 2. Step number 1 that we spoke about was identify what your ideal unlocked version will look like. Step number 2, my friend, is Analyze where you currently are. Analyze your current situation. Now, let me explain this for you, my friends. So one of the lessons that Vamika mentioned over here, is says stop locking yourself in the past and keep on reading those chapters. Focus on your present chapters. That's right. Absolutely. Stop analyzing your current, analyze your current situation. So here is step number 2. Here are the questions. Please make notes. You need to analyze what your where you currently are and where your ideal self is. So how you do that is ask yourself this question: is my current behavior, is my current action, are they in alignment with the highest best picture I saw of myself? When I look at myself, the highest best I want to be, let's say, if I have an example over here, if this is where I want to be and this is where I am at, all the actions that I'm taking, is it helping me to come to this level, or is it putting me even further down? Am I spending time, hours, even hours, just trying to escape the pain by watching some random Netflix movies, web series, And I'm not saying don't watch Netflix. I love Netflix, by the way, as well. I enjoy it. But are you taking time just to go to, social media and just scroll? Are you going to Instagram scrolling? Are you on LinkedIn just scrolling, and just feeling bad for yourself? Are you just watching one movie after another and saying, "Oh, my life is shit"? It's very unfair. So, is your current behavior and action, are they in alignment with your highest best? The question is, if Vinod as an individual would say, this is my highest best, this is where I want to reach. I want to be a wealthy person. I want to be a fulfilled person. I want to spend a great time with my family. I want to be physically healthy. I want to live a great, fulfilled life. Then are your actions in alignment with that? If they are not, then it's time to change. Question number 2. Now you would say that, Bob, I want to be the highest version of myself. But प्रश्न आपके लिए ये है, question that I have for you is, do you really like yourself? Do you like yourself? Have you accepted yourself just the way you are? Or do you think you haven't accepted yourself just the way you are? My friend, you cannot convince anybody else about your product, about your services, about your keynote speeches, about your trainings, about your skills, about anything. You cannot convince someone else even about your startup idea until you're convinced about yourself that you're good enough. And even in your imperfection, can I ask you to close your eyes for 1 second and repeat these words in your own heart? I am the best just the way I am. Repeat these words with me in your own mind, in your own heart. You can stay on mute and say, I am the best just the way I am. I am beautiful. I'm talented. My past is not equal to my future. I am progressive. I am a history creator. I can change my past and make a great future. I cannot change my past, but I can change my future. I can change my present. I am amazing just the way I am. Now repeat these words with me. I love myself. Just like Kareena Kapoor says, in that movie, I am my favorite. मैं अपनी favorite हूँ. In Hindi it says, say that I'm my favorite. Fall in love with yourself, and people will start falling in love with you too. All right. Now, this does not mean that you don't love anybody else. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm my favorite. That means others are not good." No, no, no. This is talking about first accept yourself. When you accept yourself, it is more easier. Let's move forward. So, ask yourself if you want to move forward. Question. Thank you, Vinod, for your kind words. Step number 3. Sorry, question number 3. How far are you from your ideal self? Now, this is what you do from an analytical, logical perspective. For an example, over here, I'm going to make a picture. Just changing some pens. Let's say, for an example, don't mind my drawing. Let's say this is me. Let's say this is me, okay, where I'm currently. And this is what Okay, let's make this a little sad face. Let's say this is me, unhappy one, and this is how I want to be, the highest version of myself. If there is a gap, the question is, how far am I from here? What do you think are the specific gaps that I have over here? Can you give yourself a score? If this is number 5, being the highest unlocked best version of yourself, and this is, let's say, you know, let's say 1 is the least and 5 is the best, where would you put yourself at? Now, if you say, Bob, I want to be the highest version of myself, but I'm already at 5, then you cannot be a high version. But let's say if you put yourself at 2 and this is 5, so you got to ask yourself, okay, what is that 2, 3, 4, 5 that I need to change? What do I need to change? What improvement did I want? What parameters will I measure myself with? What skills I don't have that I need to have? Okay, Ravi says you can't see my drawing. I hope you can see me. Okay, here.
No, that's because I think you're sharing the screen, Bobby. That's right.
Okay, all right. Let's make it easy. Can you see my drawing now?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, so if this is where you are at, and this is where you want to reach, and this is at number 5, being the highest best, and this is where you are at, you have to put yourself a score, and a very honest score. And you're going to ask yourself also that if there is a gap between both, what parameter will I measure myself on? Possibly my confidence is not good enough to convince a vice president of an organization when I give an interview. Okay, possibly my ideas are great, but I cannot present myself confidently in front of so many people. Or there could be any other reason. So what are the gaps that you see in yourself is the question. Let's move forward. Question number 4, what actions, hear me out, my friend, what specific action you will take in alignment with your highest best version? May I request you please put that question down, because that's how you'll be able to figure out, your answer. And Mamika is feeling much positive after this beautiful affirmation. Great to hear that. Thank you, Avita D'Souza and Shivani Singh and anybody else. Vinod, thank you for saying that. What actions will you take in alignment with the highest version of yourself? So now let's move to step number 3. And in a few minutes, I have a couple of stories, my story and an amazing story that is coming up for you. Wenzel, how much time do we have? If you want to just remind me. So
We have got still 10 minutes.
All right, great. That should be good enough. No problem. Okay. Step number 3, unlock your identity. Unlock your identity. Can let me see how much you remember. What was the step number 1? Can anybody tell me what was the step number 1? What was the step number 1? Can anybody remind me? Step number 1. Anybody remembers? That's right. Identify what is your ideal self. How does your ideal self look like? Step number 2 was? Step number 2. Let's see who's the smartest.
Analyze where you currently are.
That's right. That's a smart person speaking. Okay, analyze where you currently are. Okay, where are you currently now? Shivani, that's absolutely right. Step number 3, unlock your identity. Now, this, my friend, is possibly the most important. If this is what you can do, my friends, then you'll be able to do other things easily. Thank you, Ravi Govind, for the answers and everybody else who participated. Here is unlock your identity. So who do you really want to be? Do you want to be a loving partner to your wife, to your husband, do you want to be the best friend to someone? Would you want to be the best employer? Would you want to be the best speaker? Would you want to be, and the best speaker does not mean just the world speaker, but for yourself, what's the best version? If you want to be the best software engineer, you want to be the best contributor, what do you want to be? If you put words for yourself, what words will you put for yourself? If you want to be the best plumber, you want to be the best doctor, you want to be the best engineer, would you want to be the best blogger? Would you want to be the best video content creator? What would that be? How does your identity look like? Now, I have an interesting example for you, my friends. Friends, have you ever, okay, look at the picture and tell me, what do you see in this picture? What do you see in this picture that you see over here? I think the answer is very simple, but what do you see in the picture?
A person.
Now, it's a
He's not
person smoking a cigarette, right? Possibly smoking. And let's not talk about NCB and all that is happening right now currently.
passive
You know,
smoker.
that's right. Somebody's smoking. That guy's smoking. Okay. Have you ever noticed that non-smokers don't have to worry about smoking? Have you ever seen that? Non-smokers don't really have to worry about smoking, and they don't have to worry about मुझे हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना तलब लगेगा, you know, or I will be addicted to, if I see a smoker, I will say I want to smoke. Non-smokers are not worried about it. You know why? Because in their mind, they have a clear picture that they are non-smokers. However, ask somebody who's recently quit smoking. When they see somebody else smoking at a shop, they will quickly feel, you know, a sense of excitement to saying, can I smoke again? One of the reason also is because they still in their mind see a picture in their mind of being a smoker in the past. So though they have left smoking, but in their mind, they are still smokers. Sometimes we want to lose weight. Sometimes we want to be rich. Sometimes we want to, you know, create business or whatever we want to do. We want to create a successful story. But in our mind, the identity that we have of ourselves, my friend, the identity that we have for ourselves, you know, that unfortunately is of the past failures. And the question that I have for everybody today is, are you still creating pictures in your mind of who you were in the past, of somebody who did not make money, who did not get the job, who was weak, who was insecure, or whoever you were? That is not very empowering. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. So what you got to do, my friend, is unlock your identity first. Discover who you want to be, okay? And then start taking action. Start taking action, all right? Now, here is one example that I have for you. Anybody knows who is this person in the picture? Anybody knows who is this person in the picture? Any guesses? You know, any guesses who this person is? Any guesses? In the chat button. An artist, interesting. Okay. By the way, this person that you see in the picture, he's an engineer, okay? And he used to work for Yahoo, okay? And what basically happened is after he quit Yahoo, he tried working for Facebook. He applied for jobs in Facebook and he was turned down. And this is his, you know, tweet on his tweet saying that, you know, I applied for Facebook and I was turned down. Then he applied to work for Twitter, you know, as an engineer, and he was denied that as well. And he said, sad, I did not get through. Now, wouldn't you agree that this is a story of failure? Isn't this a story of failure? That thinking that, you know, things did not work out. I tried from some of the biggest organization. I failed. But the same man with a co-founder was able to create the company called WhatsApp. Okay. And his name is Mr. Acton, currently, and currently very well said, Wenzel Fernandes, and also Khalid, founder of WhatsApp. He was rejected by Facebook. And after some time, the product that he created with his co-founder was WhatsApp today. And it is something that you and I can't survive with. Wenzel so correctly said, you can't survive with WhatsApp here, right now. Today, he sold his stakes to Facebook and he got, just imagine if he was an employee of Facebook. Facebook would not have to give him so much money. But today, his net worth is more than 3.8 billion. Hear me out. His failure did not let him stay with the picture of failure of his past stories. He chose to change the picture in his mind. And he said, my identity is of somebody who does not live on failures or what's happened in the past, But he says, I unlock myself and I will create one of the biggest, most powerful commodity in the world, which can today, right now, completely in a way delete the need for short messaging service. Would you agree? Yes or no? Do you remember the time when you had to recharge your mobile for SMS packs? Gone are those days, correct? Step number 4, the last thing, unlock your wealth, my friend. Very important. It's not just that you should be successful only emotionally and spiritually. My friend, in Hindi we say paisa bolta hai. You are respected in the community when you create money. It's important, you know. Even if you want to be a social worker, even that requires money. So you need to unlock your wealth. And I do a session called In Demand Skills. And if Empowerment Talks or anybody wants me to deliver a session, a master class on developing in demand, high income skills, I can do that for you separately. Okay. You need to develop a mindset of the rich by developing high income skill. Remember, it's not just your profession. You got to develop skills that can create money for you, even when you just have a computer, you just have a mobile, and you are with a job or without a job. How can you be in demand even when there are scarcity of jobs? There are some high income skills that you can develop. One of them is content writing. One of them is, you know, high ticket closing. In other words, you're able to sell high ticket. You're able to sell big, what do you say, big proposals. Are you able to negotiate? Are you a person who's learning automation and artificial intelligence? Are you a blogger? Are you a video editor? Are you an expert in search engine optimization? And even if you are very good in search engine optimization, are you really, really good at marketing yourself that you are an SEO expert? There are a lot of skills that you can develop without any qualification, my friend. Develop a mindset of the rich. Now, when I come to the end, one thing that you really, really need. A lot of people say, you know, Bob, I lived in my past stories are all painful, struggle, difficulties, and all. But that's not the truth, actually. Sometimes all that you have experienced in the past, all your failures, all your successes, they can become case studies for you to say, okay, these are steps that I should not take, or I learned from this, this is what I should take. You know, just like Thomas Edison said, these are 1,000 ways that I should not create a light bulb, but the 1,001 way, this is what I'm supposed to do. Every mistake of yours, every failure of yours, everything that you missed becomes a case study for you so that you can use those experiences of life and say that you can build a monument life for yourself. Would you say yes? And that's exactly what my life is, my friend. And for some, this is a repeat story, but I'm just going to share just a little bit of it. If you're happy to hear a little bit of my story, would you want to hear my story? Thank you, Swati, for your kind words. Thank you. Guys, this is my story. When I was a 15 years old boy, 16 years old boy, actually, I used to be a construction laborer on the roads of Mumbai. I used to pick up in Hindi, we call it, Reti, Ghamela, cement. These were my words, vocabulary. 20 years back, I could not imagine doing what I'm doing today. But 20 years back, I used to be a construction laborer, getting 30 rupees, Indian rupees, 90 rupees per day, living hand to mouth every day, struggling. And I looked at my current reality. My father, you know, my father was a brilliant singer. He was an artist, but he was unfortunately not the most faithful person. And when I was a very young boy, 2, 3 years old boy, my father left me and went away. He didn't die. He left us. Even today, whether my father is alive or dead, we have no idea. Now, I don't know a lot of people would even share the story, but that's the truth. You know, my father left us. And it was really, really difficult for our family. And we had no idea. And, you know, my story of Fallen to Rise was this, that I had no idea where my life was going on. But somehow deep in my mind, I knew that something bigger, something better, something higher is waiting for you. And I want to tell everybody right now, if you're listening to my message, sometimes, you know, your hope dies away, you know. आपको लगता है कि कुछ हो ही नहीं पाएगा. But somehow in my own heart, I knew, that something bigger, something better, something most profound is going to happen in my life. I knew that my current reality is not going to be my future. I got into sales. I used to sell watches door to door, house to house. I used to go in Mumbai. There is a place called Jogeshwari, and on the highway, I used to go to slums, door to house, knocking. Sir, good morning, sir. Would you want to buy a watch from me, sir? Sir, if you buy this watch with an alarm clock, sir, you will get, if you buy this watch from me, sir, I'll get 30 rupees, sir. This watch is just for 250 rupees INR. Some customers used to catch me by the collar and throw me outside on the roads of Mumbai. And I remember when I used to not get sales, I still remember I used to stand on the highway of Mumbai in the month of July, June, heavy rain flowing. I have an umbrella over my head. I have a watch. I have a watch on my hand. My tie, which is completely become wet. My shoes is broken, and there is tears falling from my eyes, and there is rain falling on my head because the customer just threw me out, and I don't even have a penny to even travel back. And I still remember when I stood over there and I'm wiping my tears and I'm saying, this customer threw me out. My father left my family and my loving mother. But I, Bobby D'Souza, choose to say that something bigger, something better, something higher is waiting for me. And I still remember I used to walk for an hour. I used to walk for 2 hours because I did not even have money. I did not even have 10 rupees to travel back in a bus. And I remember I should reach home and just fall down, collapse on the bed, and start the grind again. But you know what was difference? What was the biggest difference was I decided that my biography, my past, will never determine the autobiography that I'm writing for my life. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Your past does not determine your future. And today I'm the author of the book called Fallen to Rise, which is my story, my friends. And I just want to show you one picture because I think it delights me. This is the picture. This is a picture of my mother and me. And this woman is my role model because she never gave up when my father left. She stood, she struggled, she went through pain, she got sick, she went through whatnot, but she did not give up. And she was my role model for me as an individual. And what I just want to tell everybody is something bigger, something better, something higher is waiting for you. I have the privilege today of working with CEOs and CEOs of CEOs, leaders of corporate organization. I have the privilege of helping so many people across the world because I do not live in my past. All my links I'm going to share over here, but I just want to tell you, if I can do this, my friend, you can do better than me because each one of you are more talented than me. You're more smarter than me. Possibly you have more knowledge than I can even comprehend. Don't waste your life. Unlock the highest version of yourself. Thank you so much. God bless. Wenzel, over to you.
Wow. Thank you very, very much, Bobby, for your inspiring work and about the story that you went through. And just when you said this, all about do not go back to your past, let me tell you something that even many of us right now in this platform and who is watching us are going through a lot. And that message, as you said, something different is waiting for you. And I truly believe that. Now, one of the questions that I would definitely would like to ask is from the audience which is coming through is what made you rise up even in the midst of harsh realities around you, even when you had no previous reference as a great role model?
I think the answer is not the simplest, because I was very naive. I did not know a lot of things. But somehow I was not stuck in my present. Sometimes what happens is when we go through the current situation, we can be so engulfed with what's happening around us that we cannot see beyond it. And I'm glad to say that I was able to see beyond that. I knew that there was this magical grace of looking beyond what I'm going through today. I knew that whatever I'm going through is temporary. And I think, ye waqt bhi guzar jayega. Even this time will pass is something that was always in my heart. It's something bigger, better. I think the hope never went away. And I'm glad to say that even after so many falls, even today, I would say that hope's not gone away. That's one of the answers for you. I think protecting, Wenzel, I think it's very important that people, it's just imagine you have a candle in your hand, right? And like in Diwali or Christmas, you take a candle or a diya, and you're just going, and there is suddenly a storm coming around you, and it's very important for people to just, what we do is we try and protect that candle so that the light does not go off. Sometimes we don't realize that when we don't build our own self every day by inspiring ourselves, reading something, empowering ourselves, so that hope does not die down. And I think I'm so glad to say that I did not let my hope die down. And that's my answer, actually.
Thank you very much for that inspiring answer again. Uh, I truly believe whatever you said, and I believe one of the answers that the answers that given to all the questions probably is do not go back to your past, because the problem is even I do believe sometimes it didn't happen for a couple of months. I don't think so. It will happen in just days. And this is the thought that
Yes.
came in my mind as well today. But when you just said, I think I am so lucky to host your show at this right time. And you just brought that smile on my face right now. You don't know how I
Wow.
feel right now with your inspiring, the affirmations that you give. Thank you very, very much, Bobby. I would say from the bottom of my heart, because you just truly changed my mindset. Truly, I was just speaking to Kunain sir saying that, okay, this is what happened. I don't know what to do. And he was just saying something is written good for you. And the same words that you just mentioned is something good is written for you. And you said, I am the better, I am better for myself. So thank you very much. So do we have any questions from our audience? I would request them to raise their hands and I will love to unmute you and get you on the video so that you can have an interaction with the speaker. With that,
Hmm.
I would definitely ask you a second question is, I'm pretty sure that this has been answered, but what is the one step to start unlocking your highest version while handling urgent challenges that needs to be addressed now?
Hmm. I think while you're trying to unlock yourself and also you're trying to face the current situation that you're going through, while you're trying to pay the EMI, the payments, the home loan, the liabilities, don't forget who you are and why you're alive. Why you're doing what you're doing. Why do you get up every morning? We don't just get up every morning just to pay our bills, right? That isn't a very exciting life, is it? We don't just get up saying, "Oh, how much is my electricity bill?" It is so exciting. We don't get up like that, right? We have some reason that really excites us, and I think it's very very important. Like I said earlier, and this is the quote which I wrote, which says, when your why is very strong, what do you want to be? What does your ideal self look like? How do you picturize yourself in the next 6 months, in the next 3 months, in the next 1 year, in the next 5 years? How do you see yourself? Why do you rise up every morning? Why do you do what you do? When you're able to ask yourself this one question every week, then what will happen is even in the midst of struggles, bankruptcy, struggles, difficulties, divorce, heartbrokenness, rejection, ignorance, interview fails, we will not lose that fire, that candle, by asking ourselves, why am I doing what I'm doing? That's the answer.
Five eyes. I learned this one of the process called five eyes. Find the root cause of your why and then get on a fixture of it. So we have one question from Krishna Raj Iyer, and then Khalid has raised his hand. So we will take these two questions and then we will move to word of thanks.
Yeah.
So the question from Krishna Raj Iyer is, how did you create the opportunities at every step or every level?
You know, it was not the easiest, and I can honestly, bluntly say that. I remember when I want to be a keynote speaker, motivational speaker, I used to be the learning and development manager for an organization. And there used to be a lady who used to come to our office, organizing, very senior person. And I went to her and I said, listen, I also want to be a person who travels all around the world and start inspiring people. So can you tell me what should I do to be a speaker, to be doing this? And I was expecting that she would really support me because I had a real good relationship. But surprisingly, she did not guide me. She did not. I asked her, what should I do? She said, just increase your qualification. That's all she said. And I was so shocked. Then I went to somebody who I really admired, who was a great speaker. And I said, man, this guy, when I listen to him, I feel, wow. So can I go to him? So I went to him and I said, listen, sir, we were in a camp in Lonavala, Khandala, Lonavala. And he was sitting next to me and he was my favorite speaker. I sat down with him and I said, listen, I want to be a speaker like you. What should I do? He said, you got to increase your qualification. And he just left. And I was shocked. I said, yeah, I really thought these guys will help, but they didn't. And sometimes there are people who will help you. Sometimes there are people who will not help you. But we've been blessed with the power of internet. And the power of internet can actually find you any answer. Okay. So there are two things that's really helped me. Number one, the power of the internet. That's really helped me. Number two, finding mentors in your life who are far better than you at every stage of your life. Okay. Some mentors are people who I actually know and they know me. Some mentors could be people like Tony Robbins and Les Brown and so many other people who inspired me, John Maxwell. And I saw their work and I got inspired by them and I started searching for answers. Here is one secret. When you ask yourself empowering questions, you get the right answer. When you ask yourself right questions, how do I become a world-class speaker who inspires millions of people? If that is a question you will ask yourself, you will sooner or later, when you're committed to finding that answer, you'll find the answer. But when you say, what can I do about my life? Nothing's going to work out. So your mind will say, of course, you're right. That's so right. You're a loser. I so agree. So that's the answer.
Thank you very much. Internet truly does help if you use internet for a good reason. And trust me, I'm one of the real-time example for it, or being one of the green belt Six Sigma certified. And mentors really give you the right answers and they will guide you to the right path. I agree with both your answers. So now I'm going to unmute Khalid Khan. And Khalid, here you go.
Hi, Khalid.
Good afternoon or evening, Bobby. Let me get on video because it's always polite to see you face to face. First of all, Bobby,